Earlier today, I did a show with Sub-Zero3639, the YouTuber, on my O'Shea Vlogcast channel, and we had a pretty good discussion discussing black failure in so many words. We're talking about why black people are blaming everybody except themselves for their current state in America. Now, we will not discount white supremacy or other things that have held blacks back, but we never talk about how blacks are holding their own selves back. And Sub-Zero3639 comes out with an interesting point, and he puts up a graph by Brookings.com or some statistical firm that showed how many hours all races, the most popular ones, spend per night in America. And at the top were Asians. And Asians encompasses all groups, Indians, Pakistanians, people like that, Chinese, Japanese. They do about 2 hours of homework every night. Hispanics, and then whites were second. Guess who's last? African Americans. Blacks are at the dead last, right? The last group. And if you talk about the lack of political education, the lack of academic excellence, the lack of opportunities, then you would understand why blacks are at the last place. And Sub-Zero's argument is that nobody is holding black people back from studying more than 40 minutes a night. Nobody's stopping black people from educating themselves. And of course, you had a lot of people in the chat that wanted to push back on that. But I wanted to talk about a sub-idea, or kind of basically bifurcate from his original point into talking about the Nigerian community, who, if you were to remove them from the group of blacks and compare them to everyone else in the America, they are the top performing group, even beating Asians in college graduates, academic success. So here we have a group of blacks that even beat whites, that beat Asians. And there are some good arguments. These people come from pretty good stock. Their parents are already smart. If they're not rich, they already have a lot of academic excellence already before they come to America. True. That's very true. I mean, I know that because I know a lot of people who are from Nigeria who do very well, and their parents are very intelligent, right? I understand that. But what are some of the things that they do every day that blacks don't? And this is where we get to an uncomfortable situation, because I've talked about this before. I know a lot of Africans and immigrants and foreigners, when they come to America, they have something to offer up here, okay? That makes a big difference. I mean, I'm in Poland right now. I don't speak Polish, but if I knew Polish, I would do very well, right? Because up here is what I have, right? I have something going up here. Here's the situation, though. How many hours do we think that Nigerian students are doing homework a night? If Asians are doing 2 hours and they're the best in the country, and if we take Nigerians out of the mix and compare them against Asians, how many hours of homework are Nigerian students doing a night in comparison to Asians? Now, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about what are the academic standards between Nigerian parenting and African American parenting. And see, this is what we're going to really find out and separate the forest from the trees, if you will, the wheat from the chaff. Let's be honest. Even Africans who come over that are poor from Nigeria, I'm only dealing with this group. And if you want to, use Ghana, West Africa, even when they come to America, they're poor. And I know people because I've had Africans tutor me in organic chemistry. I've had Africans tutor me in calculus at Howard University. We'll tell you one thing that we don't want to discuss right now. Africans, on average, have much higher academic standards than blacks do. Okay, you're going to talk about where our families are together like theirs are. Fair enough. So I'm not going to even include the children of single mothers. We're going to take single mother parents and leave them aside. We're going to talk about blacks that are married, that have families, against Nigerians that have families that are married. Same income, same bracket. Nigerian Americans, in my opinion, their students will still do better. I'm going to tell you why. Nigerians have a much higher standard for their children to reach in academics than we do. I'll tell you this. Why? How do I know? I'm gonna just use myself and others that I know as anecdotal evidence. I know it's kind of bad, but we'll do this. And you guys can agree. Black people are very liberal when it comes to two things: their children's education and love. African Americans, when our children go out and find somebody that they want to mate and love, if daddy's a doctor, mama's a doctor, but the son wants to go and be a poet or an artiste or a painter, African Americans are much more liberal with their children's education choices. Very few people will say, if you don't go to school for mechanical engineering, I'm not paying for it. Okay? My mama went to UC Davis. My dad went to UCLA. Okay? My parents were just happy I was going to school. I wanted to go to college. I wasn't selling drugs. I wasn't shooting up the club. I had a job. That was my academic center. Going to school to be a doctor or Ivy League or a lawyer or no. No. That's good if it came. But at the very least, that's what we had going on. My parents was glad about that. Who I want to marry? Oh, she got a child? Oh, baby. Well, do you love her? That's what Mama want to know. Do she love the Lord? Do she know Jesus and the pardon of her sins? That's the only questions Mama and Daddy gonna ask you. Is she real? Do she love your mama? You know, Daddy, he don't care. Boy, she thick, boy. Boy, what her mama looking like? That's black families. But Nigerians, Daddy's a doctor, mom's an engineer. Even if dad is not even an engineer, even if dad is a parking attendant, Daddy, I want to go to school for Daddy, I want to go to school for English. You want to do what? School for English. That's what's gonna happen. Okay? You will go to school and be an engineer. Huh? You will be an engineer today. If not, I will send you back to Niger. This is what happened. Daddy, I fell in love with a truck driver. He make $90,000 a year. He does what? He drives what? Trucks? I'm telling you, no. He's not the one for you. You will get a lawyer, doctor. Huh? She can be ugly. Bad looking. Which is why a lot of those chicks never get married. Because a lot of them, I hate to say that, they parents put their standards up so high that nobody in that bracket is going, they're not that, some of them, I feel sorry for them. Nobody ever going to marry them because they ain't that good looking, some of them. But those are the standards. The way that Nigerians and a lot of Africans, even Caribbean families, you're going to be somebody or else. I had a guy. He's a DJ. He wanted to be a DJ. His parents were getting ready to disown him for wanting to be a DJ. Believe it or not, there are people that will disown you. You want to marry an African American? No. You will not bring that a kata here. No. And guys, you might not like that. But see, the whole situation is the reason why their people do better is because they set the standards high that your children can achieve it. And let me say this one time. Some of them people were accountants and all that in the home country and came to America and maybe take a lower job. But isn't it hard for you to tell your son or daughter to go to school to be a doctor or a lawyer if you don't know that? And that's another thing. It's hard to get your children to higher education if you haven't reached it. My dad is at least a psychiatric nurse. My grandmother was a nurse. My dad was on crack. My mom was, in UC Davis. So that seed was at least planted in me. But see, a lot of we liberal towards education because our parents didn't. We just let our kids do whatever we want them. Not even kid with the trends. Other students is going majoring in math, science, engineering, whatever. Oh, baby, you don't like math? Well, neither do I. No, we don't even look at our children. Oh, you don't understand how to do general chemistry? Well, we're going to bring a tutor and you're going to learn this chemistry. You're going to learn this physics. Oh, you're going to learn this calculus. That's not how we parent. And then you get mad when people from other students and other agents, people come over and they beat our kids all the time, coming and going, because we don't have the same standards. Now, same thing what he said. He reminded me to get back on my stuff. If you don't study, now I remember watching this at the guy Harvard University Medical School. He said, this was in the 90s when he was in college. He said, every day I make sure, uninterrupted, I study 6 hours a day. Every single day. I'm telling you, if you have somebody that's already smart and they study 6 or 7 hours a day, I apologize, man. You can't beat that person, okay? And this is what a lot of people you're competing against. You're competing against people that have that kind of discipline because their parents bring them up on it. That means no cell phone. I'm not on YouTube when I'm studying. I'm in the book. I'm reading this. I'm highly engaged. I'm focused on what I'm doing. And for 7 hours a day, that's what I'm doing. How can you compete against that? You can't. You can't. And that's the hard truth. And this is what black students are competing against. This is why they are going to Harvard. This is why they're going to Yale. And they have the parents to enforce it. Black parents don't enforce that culture. I know that because I'm one of y'all. And you're going to be calling me all type of names. And if you do, I will roast you. But that's the difference. And if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. But we all know that it's the truth. Holla at your boy. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Subscribe at the bell. Support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Negro Manosphere. That's my personal Patreon for the Black Manosphere site. Black male media is important. As you know, the buffoonery remains at an all-time high. I'm out.